Okay, this one is called Free Your Ribs, and this is hugely important and potentially something that, if you're like a lot of other athletes that I've been working with in person, potentially something you haven't really given a lot of thought to before. And if you choose to bring your awareness to this and work on fixing it for yourself, you will notice a giant improvement in your ability to move. And so if you want to know more about the whole anatomy of how your rib cage is connected to everything, read more of the written lesson below this video. I'm not going to spend this video like reading that stuff to you. You can read it on your own time. But what the important thing to know is that restricted rib cage mobility, like, so your rib cage is connected to your pelvis and there's deep internal muscles that connect the two together. And when those muscles are excessively tight, then it restricts our ability to move freely. Like, I should be able to move my whole torso really easily. And having a mobile rib cage facilitates that. And the way that we breathe obviously impacts our rib cage a lot. So your diaphragm is a muscle that sits right underneath your rib cage, and it's attached to the bottom of your rib cage. So if you're not using your diaphragm to breathe, then it's possible that your rib cage is severely limited and it doesn't really move when you breathe. So this week, what I'm going to challenge you to do is to find some time every day. And this literally can be 1 minute at a time. You can do it absolutely anywhere. Do it when you're standing in line at the grocery store checkout. Do it while you're driving. Do it when you're sitting at your desk. Do it right here, right now with me. But essentially, what you want to do is start practicing being able to open up your ribs just with your breath. And so you know you have these little like intercostal muscles in between your ribs, and those are they're muscles, and you can learn to control those very easily just with practicing it every day. So the way to start with this is to put your hands here on the sides of your rib cage, and then as you inhale, see if you can get your hands to go apart. So watch me. You see how like my ribs went out, and then as I exhale, my hands come together. So my ribs are squeezing in, my ribs exhale or inhale and they expand. Exhale, they contract and my ribs get smaller. So practice that all the time, in and out. Exhale down. The more, and I've seen people do this in person where they're like, my ribs are not moving. So if that's you right now, okay, chip away at this slowly and know that there's a huge upside for you here when you can get this. And so any little bit of progress, take that as a really good sign that like, oh, okay, I'm making improvement here. So you're increasing your rib mobility. There's an advanced way that can be like, this is where I progressed to, and I thought it was really fun. I don't know if they call it like an accordion breath or something. Like, there's probably waterfall breath. There's multiple names for this, but essentially it's when you can inhale to make your rib cage big. And then while it's still big, inhale a little more, see if you can make it bigger. And then hold it for a second, then inhale a little more, see if you can make it bigger. And it's like, how big can you make that go? Don't crack a rib. I've actually heard that people have like taken this, if you're a type A athlete, like don't take it so far that you start cracking your ribs. But go ahead and expand it and then pause, expand it and pause. And you can do the same thing on the way down. And this is learning really good control of your rib cage. So if I'm out, then even as I exhale, I can exhale and stop. Exhale more, and I can make the rib cage expand. Another position to do that in, so you can obviously do it standing is a great way, and you can do it pretty much anytime. But I moved myself over here to this tree so that I could show you that to be able to do it in a more horizontal position is a really good way to practice this as well. So if I put my hands, you can do this on like on a desk or, you know, on a tabletop, but then put your hands out like this and then take a really big breath and feel your rib cage expand. And when you do that, you will note a whole bunch of accessory muscles that are all connected in there that will start feeling tight, and you'll be like, oh my gosh. So again, don't go crazy with that and overdo it. Just expand to the point where it's like, oh, that feels good. I like that. And what will happen is over time, you'll be like that, your rib cage will just it'll start to shift itself off of your pelvis. And this is what will allow you, it's a foundational part of this course, is to get your rib cage moving. If you skip this part, when we get to the part about like getting your hips to move, it will be much harder for you because your rib cage will still be very much locked in with your hips, and your hips will not move until you can get your rib cage moving. So work on that this week. Pay attention to it. And then in the flow rope section, there's a whole like flow rope swing that we can do that will continue to expand this to help you get your rib cage even more unstuck. And wait until you feel how amazing it is to have a rib cage that is mobile and moves easily. It's great. So work on this a little bit every day, chip away at it. Feel how good that feels to expand, make it big, make it big.